What's up, BC? How you doing there? You're probably asking, hey man, why are you starting with your back turned to me? We'll get to that. Little hot rod shop. Honest Charlie's is going to tie into the topic at hand. But before we get into that, let me turn this down a wee bit. What's spinning in the background? That's probably too much. Ooh, technology. Toe fat. There it is. So, this is a weird camera angle. Let's get used to this. So, this is a 1970 first press toe fat. Yeah, right on. I'm down for some weirdness. Hopefully you are too. But the thing I'm talking about today, because I like it, I'm talking about a little surf and drag. But before I get into that, I'll tell you a little story. Whoop whoop. So, you know, your boy makes fat boy decisions sometimes, right? Mm-hmm. So I went to Jack in the Crack. Certainly not the coolest thing I ever did, right? But so, I drive through, alright? So I place an order. All good. And then, I pull up in the window, and there's a lady pushes, a manager, I assume, pushes a younger lady out of the drive-thru window, and she's like, "Ooh, that is a good-sounding car. Well, oh, is that one of them Marauders?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's a Mercury Marauder. It's a 2000." She's like, "Oh, I know what that is. They only had them for like 2-3 years. And yours is in blue. Did you paint it that color?" I was like, "No, it came in blue." She's like, they only came in black. They came in blue, the rarest color, but they did come in blue." Anyway, she said, this is priceless. She ran up there. She's like, "That's a good-looking car." She's like, "I had to know who was in that car because when you first pulled up and you had turned off your music, I heard that before I heard your engine, I heard that you were listening to Teddy P. Ooh, I love some Teddy P. And she said, she said, "Ooh, you's a big, sexy John B. looking motherfucker." One, if you don't know who John B. is, feel free to look him up. All white guys with beards don't look alike. So I would say I don't look like John B. But seeing how she meant it as the sincerest of compliments, I'll take it. But what are we really getting after here? We're going to be a little sporadic. We're going to be a little random. I'm going to shove 10 pounds of shit into an 8-pound bag because I got a workload this week. And I want to pay respects to some friends out here in the vinyl community and participate in contests. And shoot about music, and it's a great opportunity to talk about something I'm passionate about. So I'm using contests and excuse to talk about something I want to talk about anyways. And what's that topic at hand? Surf and drag. Because I like it. I grew up on this. I freaking love this music. Of course, the two cliche things we're going to get into, excuse me, is you always think of, on the surf end, you think of, oh, man, I can't tell a story worth a damn. Nashandra, who told me, don't forget about her. The reason I'm drinking said milkshake. She's like, "Can I get you something for free, baby?" And I was like, "No, I'm good." I said, "I'm already eating, chicken fingers, fries, and a Dr. Pepper. That's not like it's the healthiest thing." She's like, "I got to give you something. I got to treat a man looking like you, driving that car. I got to give you something special." And I was like, okay. I was like, "You guys have milkshakes? I've never had a milkshake here, ever." I was like, she's like, "Oh, I got the perfect thing." And she came back and she said, "Cookies and cream, because chocolate and vanilla go together mighty fine, and this is thick just like me." So, talking about laying on thick. Anyways, free milkshake. I ain't mad at it. So surf and drag. Let's get after it. On the surf end, you think of there's stuff like the Challengers were all instrumental. I wish I had some of that. The Safaris that did a lot of instrumental stuff. course, Adventures is the big one. I showed a bunch of Adventures in my first couple videos, so I don't think I showed this best of, so that's why I grabbed that. Anyways, and you'll notice that a lot of these bands, like they did Tequila, Hawaii Five-0 here, Wipeout, Out of Limits. You'll notice that a lot of these surf groups were kind of like soul doo-wop groups, where they performed each other's music. You know, they'd have a lot of repetition amongst themselves in music, but so this is kind of more the same, where you got the Beach Boys, Jane and Dean, the Safaris, like I mentioned, the Kingsmen, Louie Louie on here, the Hondells, the Ripcords. If I'm not mistaken, they started off as Randy and the Ripcords, but the Chantrays, Trashmen, which everyone knows from Surfing Bird, but yeah, more of the Ripcords, the Marquettes, Ronnie and the Daytonas. So, like I say, it's more of the same. And here's a Jan and Dean anthology. And this is another one of those designed for double discs, where it's sides 1, 2, 3, 4. But one album is track side 1 and 4, and one aside 2 and 3, which is a weird, peculiar thing. This is a pretty cool album. But the 4th side is them performing live, and they try to tell jokes and be funny. And it doesn't work out. But sides 1 through 3 are gems on this. Anyways, no need to show the gatefold. I'll be prompt. And I always say that, but I'm going to try this time. So here's a nice... in this Surf and Drag, you find a lot of compilations. And so this is one I'm happy to have. I'm going to try to kill this flare. Not that that's the biggest deal in the world. But it's the Beach Boys / Jan and Dean. I mean, it's nothing real crazy here, but Surfing USA, Drag City, I Get Around, Honolulu Lulu, Shut Down, Dead Man's Curve, Little Deuce Coupe, Little Old Lady from Pasadena, all the stuff you'd expect. And I catch a lot of flack. It's because I like it. You know, my dad was a car guy. I'm a car guy. It is what it is. But a lot of people who are Beach Boys fans tend to turn their back on the early stuff, and I'm cool with Pet Sounds and the latter stuff. Honestly, I need to explore more of their catalog deeper into the latter part of their career. But yeah, man, I grew up on this. I love it. When I find this stuff, if it's any kind of comp I don't own, it's usually inexpensive, and I grab it. So, hey, Little Cobra, there we go, man. Grab that. Here's one where this album cover just speaks to me, the art of this, which is something we're going to get into a little bit here, a little bit later. Like I say, I'm juggling some things. Hopefully you appreciate it. I'm not trying to rob anyone of independent video, but I'm trying to make do with the time I have and pay respects to everyone. I don't mean to say pay respects like deceased, but that will come into play too. But so here we go. Here's Shut Down with the knockoff wheels and the shifters, and man, that just screams so quick and tight with such an iconic little... I like how they have these little bars of photography that tell so much with so little. And if you guys remember from Once Upon a Time, this monstrosity, which is not a Little Deuce Coupe, I brought this one out of the woodwork because I know my boy Dots and Loops will appreciate this. Oh yeah, if I'm not saying it, yeah, it's because I like it. Dots and Loops, he has a contest, man. Partake in it. And then I'll get on to the rest. But yeah, that's a Deuce Coupe. Does not do it justice. This is not even the album. It's just a compilation that Pickwick threw on here, and they have a drawing of a hideous Corvette. It doesn't make any sense. This is terrible. Watch the old video if you want to hear me rant on it. Found this in Nashville at Vinyl Tap. Maybe I'll send a link below. I don't know. I'm not usually very good about that. I always say in these videos that I'll leave a link or pin a comment. Half the time I don't. But so, so this is the proper Little Deuce Coupe. This is a repress. Sue me. I don't care. That quad headlight Deuce Coupe is an iconic image from my childhood. My dad had this on cassette. I played it till it didn't play anymore when I was a little kid. Everything here. The keg gas can. The soap on the window. I just absolutely freaking love this. And I'm you know what? I'm debating. I guess I will flip this record. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Yeah, I probably should have started this video halfway through the A side. So be it. Who cares? What else are we getting at? Talking about pops. Talking about surf and drag. This was a staple in my dad's garage. If you could see this, I don't know how well it's going to show up in the video. You could see sticker remnants here, here, here. I don't know how it's going to show. 2 long tags. Lord knows how many good wills this went through. It doesn't went through a back. I do not know, but this is more surf and drag. This is one of my dad's personal CDs of music he worked to in the garage. And Pops was a good guy, and I linked this music to him. And kind of a weird transition. If you're gonna get into this music, then you should be a fan of cars. You know, I like cars. I like the music. I never surfed so much. I boogie boarded a little bit on Lake Michigan as a child, but that's not really surfing territory near Sheboygan, Wisconsin. But yeah, if you're into car culture, hey, fascinating cars of the 1940s. I'm gonna blast through these. No need to open them. Fabulous cars of the 1950s. Wow, that muscle car book is great. The one behind me, it's too thick to even handle. It's ridiculous. It was a gift from a Brit. And it's all the cubic inches are different, and the way they word and talk about the history of American muscle cars through the British perspective is kind of fascinating. And they go on unnecessary rants on cars that weren't important and completely forget about cars that most people would find completely iconic. Sizzling cars in the 1960s. That's chrome like a cream cover right there, bro. Or maybe for dots and loops, cream would fit too, but a little head. The Monkees. Alright, if you didn't know, I had to sneak that in there. But 1970s here, the sensational cars in the 1970s. Let me take a second, without going on too much of a rant here, trying not to mess up this dust jacket. Let me flip to the year of 1978. This is in chronological and alphabetical order. So it's GM's after Ford. And then I need to hit up Oldsmobile. Yep, right here. Mine was in baby blue. But that 1979 Cutlass 442 is not the best 442, but it was a dream car of mine to have a 442. And not the best year, but the year I could afford when I was a kid. But so, anyways, in baby blue, that was my first car. Speaking of muscle cars, woo, banging and moving. That's what's up. Muscle Car Chronicle, they've done this a couple times. It's pretty cool. I wonder if they've updated it again, because at one point it used to taper off, but it gets a bridge towards the end here. But what I like is that it actually has a resurgence with contemporary. There's a little Mustang action right there. But it kind of picks up where muscle cars, we're back in the muscle car era, you know? A little bit pricey, a little bit crazy. Yeah, this is the older one. Like I say, I have a newer press of this, so this actually ends with a Mercury Marauder, which is a car Dad and I built before he passed away. But the car that I was driving when Nashandra told me about cookies and cream. But so, hey man, if you like the good cars, you might want to get down with this book, The World's Worst Cars, because that's priceless. And then if you're a car guy and everyone knows it, you get gifts. An old chef I used to work for years. If there's ever a yard sale, I get little gems like this. Little gems like this. And then, unfortunately, my dad, who's since passed, I'll do this multiple times. How dumb am I? I can't even not bang things up. It's our dream to build a classic truck. I'm trying to do that in the wake of his passing with the financial means I have, while trying to maintain the Marauder that I was gratefully left with, but I prefer to have my father than his vehicle. And then I try to maintain my Mach 1, so I'm juggling 3 cars and trying to maintain his vehicle and build a project that we talked about for years. But anyways, you can look at my truck's an old video. I got a 2-minute video from 2 weeks ago if you want to look at it. But this one's a easy gem to flip through real quick. If If you want to look at some iconic muscle cars without me taking too long there, boom, buy a muscle car book. If you're into it, they're at Barnes & Nobles. They're always cheap. Ooh, it's a Cougar Eliminator. But nothing to it but to do it. And like I say, more gifts. These are more super cars than muscle cars. But yeah, that's the type of stuff a car nerd acquires. And I guess that would be the art of the muscle car, those books. And why am I talking about the art of muscle cars? Because we're talking about stuff I like. I like surf and drag. I like cars. I'm not going to apologize for it. Because my boy, NammaN, has a contest going on right now. One thing I didn't know I was referred to myself as is a jack-all-trades, master of none. I didn't understand that's what the abbreviation was. Is that an acronym like DARE, like or SAD, Students Against Drunk Driving? As one of those, is that an acronym? Anyways, hey, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But you could tell, my first car was not this Oldsmobile, but you could tell this is the year 1998 if it's going to show up. And you could tell that your boy had cars on the brain. This is slightly out of proportion. It's too dark and it's not really showing up, but through the smoke, you can see the giant meats with a tubbed out rear. And then these little this is kind of super stock style with little skinny knockoff wheels, probably the 8 spokes. And so running little skinnies, and if you could see, the shadow is because it's lifting on a wheelie launch. And that time I was too young and I didn't realize proportion. So this right here is pretty damn accurate. All right. And then this right here, I was running out of paper, and instead of just running it off the rear and making it part of the picture, I shortened this by 20%. I don't know why. A picture I drew as a young teenager before I could even draw, why it irks me that the proportion's wrong. But yeah, anyways, it's like a 6970 Hearse Olds. All right, cool deal. And then what am I segueing into this? How could I possibly segue into something else? We're talking about surf and drag. I showed books. Talking about Teddy Pendergrass and Milkshakes here. There's one more thing. When I was just flipping through, I had no intentions of making a video. Pardon me. Let me coat the throat with these allergies here. I had no intention on making a video, but that tickled my fancy. Compliment from a stranger at a fast food place. And I was thinking through things, and then I was thinking about things I like. I was thinking about pops. I was thinking about surf and drag music. Started playing some in the background. I grabbed Tofat because I thought that Dan up there, my brother in Canada, would appreciate it. And I also figured someone else would appreciate it. We'll get to this in a little bit, but one of the last things I stumbled into was this Dick Dale when I was flipping through surf and drag. So this is Dick Dale at the drags. And I was thinking it's kind of crazy that I became friends in the vinyl community with Randy at Dead Wax, because when Dick Dale died, probably weeks to a couple months ago, I didn't know Dead Wax. I'm new to the VC, even though he's got 1,000 subscribers, he goes live, and I watch that frequently now. I had no idea. It's just kind of weird that through this guy's death, I found a new friend. Anyway, so never saw Dick Dale. Dude could absolutely shred a guitar. He was a pretty hip cat. And so, as weird as it is, talking about surf and drag made me start thinking about my deceased father and what have you. Made me start thinking about artists who have passed. And so, yeah, did I do Dots and Loops? Check. I already shouted out NammaN in my last video for Richard Riley. And I figured, hey, man, since it's not really fully dedicated to you, let me hit you with a twofer. Since I'm just showing a little drawings. And bam, so check on that. And then while we're at it, the Happy Hippy's a good dude out here, man. And so I'm figuring if I'm talking about one thing, I might as well talk about another. And sneak this out instead of forgetting a friend because of too much work. I want to get it. So, hey, Johnny Cash. I own a decent amount of Johnny Cash. And this one was actually my Aunt Linda's. It's old 2i. It needs to be cleaned. I have not played this since I got this some time ago. But it's got some surface scratches. I got so much good Johnny Cash. I guess I just never reached for this, mainly because of condition. And I grabbed it more because it belonged to family. But I'm happy to have it. But it's a kooky little album cover. But yeah, Johnny Cash, man. That one hit hard. You know, I'm a Johnny Cash guy. I know his life was long-lived, but it still doesn't make it pleasant when people pass. And then, I guess in my lifetime, watching a rap trio break up because of one member, not really break up, but disband. That's really unfortunate, you know? Cancer's a vicious thing that takes so many people, and it's really unfortunate and sad. And, but there's an understanding behind that, because it's random and vicious and it's not fair. But it's understandable. But what's not understandable is Kurt Cobain taking your own life. I mean, it's something that I had a dear friend commit suicide, a really, really good friend. He committed suicide 2 days after his 16th birthday, and I had to go to his funeral on my 16th birthday. And it was really brutal because we had plans he canceled, and it didn't make sense at the time. It did afterwards. But no one knew the pain he was going through. And one of the most vicious parts about my dear friend passing away, taking his own life, was that his twin brother found him. So that forever, when his friend, when his brother found him, who I was friends with, but not nearly as close as Kyle. But when I was so close to Kyle, when his brother found him, every time his brother saw me, he associated me with his brother and couldn't deal with it because we were young and it hurts. So I lost 2 friends. That's heavy. Anyways, and it's also crazy too because like the whole school was numb. You know, I was younger when Kurt Cobain died, and there's a lot of people that just identify with that. It was a change in society and culture. You know, the hair metal died, and young people had something new to cling on to and associate themselves with. So I don't know, a sense of community or a face of a culture to a lot of young people was lost when Kurt Cobain died. And then artists that I discovered, you know, he passed away at 53 years old, if I'm not mistaken, of a heart attack. I just grabbed these cassettes because, I mean, I got more to show than this, but we're going to try to be quick. But yeah, man, I was just discovering Grateful Dead at a younger age when he passed away, so that's unfortunate. But everyone knows about Jerry. I don't have to go too far into it. But what else do we have here? Also, I guess I grabbed something else before I get into the rest of this. Before I leave the car stuff too far behind, which triggered the thought of everything I was thinking about my pops right here. The book that I since covered up at the start of the videos is 65 GTO. This is my dad's GTO. He lived in a little small town. This is a bridge in the middle of the afternoon. Random guy stepped out and stumbled in front of him. My dad swerved to miss him, and honest to God, crawled out the back window of the hardtop, or, you know, the side. On this side, you can't even see it. But it's literally one of these little small podunk towns in Wisconsin, a little farm town. This is either Ripon or Marquezan. I forget where this was, in maybe near Berlin, but that part of the lower part of the farm state. But so it's literally one of these things where it's like a post office, a little newspaper for the county area, a few stop signs, and it's just all farmland. He literally crawled out of this thing. The photographer gets there, takes a photo, then it falls into the creek. But I find it's pretty fascinating that my dad overcame that. I mean, this was a big purchase for him when he was young, and it meant a lot to him, this vehicle. And the fact that he can overcome and achieve and reach so much success in life. Just, I look at this photo, and when I think of Dad, but I also think about you lose in life and that you could regain and build. And then, I don't know, my dad, who, you see how random I am with this music. I love so much different music. Mom was responsible for that too, my sister and friends and peers, and being multifaceted, hang out with so many different walks of life. But, you know, the day the music died, man, when my dad passed away, I mean, a part of music in my soul passed away. So, anyways, there's my dad and his GTO. And then to get back on actual proper music and not so much my life history, not that I'm offended or at the notion of sharing things. George Harrison. Everyone has their favorite Beatle. I know there's the Ringo Starr people that are the weird oddballs, and I appreciate them just for embracing it. I almost think like it's some Zappa fans love Zappa, but they're more like the idea of being a Zappa fan, and I think that's the same way with Ringo Starr. And of course, there's people that idolize John Lennon. He never did anything wrong. and they got blinders on, and he's holier than thou, and a talented musician, had some beautiful lyrics, but without harping on him, you know, Paul McCartney and George Harrison would probably be my Beatles first and foremost. But so pre my lifetime, no, not the music. The music's not pre my lifetime, but I want to say George Harrison passed away in 2001, right during the whole Beatles one. I forget Beatles one, Beatles anthology. It seems like every year every several years there's a new lot of teenagers. They repackage and sell the Beatles because there's a new market. So there was a big Beatles explosion right around the time that he passed away, and I was discovering the Beatles, and even though it really wasn't part of my immediate childhood, it was still something that just kind of like saddens you when it happens. And definitely before the music and before my lifetime, just tragedy. Something I can only imagine if you were there for, just because of the way it happened. Marvin Gaye, I mean, I don't need to get into that. That's just a bummer. The end of his life. And if you guys don't know Marvin Gaye, I mean, shame on you. Listen to it. And chances are, if you do like Marvin Gaye, and you've never discovered this, I'm talking to a certain someone out there. Come on, Chris has the spins. Teddy P, baby! Learn some Teddy P. But, yeah, Teddy Pendergrass, who also passed away. Man, he went through hell in a handbasket and had all sorts of tragedies and stayed positive and overcame and kept on pushing. But, yeah, Teddy Pendergrass passed away, too. And then another one, a question of curiosity of what they would have become if not for the death of a key band member, Cliff Burton. I love some old Metallica, man. This is back when thrash was thrash. And if you don't know, this is Lars. This is James, but yeah, this Cliff down there. Look at that. You can barely see his bass. I was hoping you could see the bass. But anyways, no, I'm sidetracking and thinking about things, and I have different albums and songs in my head and juggling 15 things at once because that's what I do. But Cliff was a hell of a musician, passed away, and I'm curious what the music would have continued to be if he never left the band. But Ride the Lightning is a seminal classic in the metal community. This is one of my top albums of all time, regardless of genre. And one left. Let's do it in under 30 minutes. That's impressive for me. If you guys watch this, you know I ramble, and I'm juggling a lot of stuff. So here we go. The last one. As of 2 weeks ago, I don't know if you guys noticed, it's kind of tragic. One of my icons of my childhood, I loved to death, died. And maybe not dead so in the real sense that they're dead and buried in the ground, but I saw a new video from Madonna a couple weeks ago, and she's dead to me. It hurts my heart, but she's another one of those women that turned into one of those plastic lizard-faced mutant creatures that didn't even realize that she was aging gracefully and still looked attractive. And she's creepy. She's wearing like a Rick the Ruler rhinestone eye patch to confuse things. It's not working. I can see you, Madonna. It hurts my heart. And you know what also hurts my heart? The fact that this is still, it's not an Obi strip, but this still has a strip, gold press promo, first press, in near mint condition, and a young lady was at the house. And I've stated this in a recent video, that when young ladies are hanging out, if they so choose the record, that if they choose record, things happen, and I'm not mad at that. But she was so excited to find this, she grabbed this by the corner and flippity-flopped it. So it went from near mint to having full crease, mark, crease, indentation for the ring. That was really frustrating. I guess she made up for it. It's just a record, you know. She didn't even notice it, but she made up for it. But yeah, that's that. This is this. Anyways, yeah, ramblings from your boy. If you've had loss, if you've had pain in your life, know that it gets better. And yeah, self-motivate, do right. I love you guys. Take care. God bless. Thanks for tuning in. And cheers. Voice cracked. Cheers.